The phone rang at exactly 11:57 p.m., breaking through the quiet of Maximilian Cross's fancy office like a knife. He never answered calls from numbers he didn't know, especially not this late at night. But something about the way the caller kept trying made him stop, his finger hanging over the button to hang up. "Please, please pick up," came a small, shaking voice when he finally answered. A child was crying. "Who is this?" Max's voice was cold and scary. "My name is Lily," the little girl cried. "Mommy told me to call this number if bad men came. They're here now. They broke our door. Mommy's hiding me in the closet, but I can hear them looking for her." Max's blood went cold. He knew that terrified voice. He'd heard it before, 3 nights ago, when he'd given Chloe Martinez his private number. The cleaning lady who had seen Tommy Benedetto shoot 3 bullets into another man's chest. The woman who could destroy the Russo family with what she knew. "Lily," he said, his voice softer now. "Tell me exactly where you are." 3 nights earlier, Maximilian Cross walked through the empty hallways of Chicago General Medical Clinic like a shadow. At 2 a.m., the building was supposed to be empty except for security guards, but his helpers had told him someone else was there, someone who might have seen too much. The Russo family had done their work in the clinic's parking lot, thinking no one could see them. Tommy Benedetto had shot and killed a rival gang member with his usual 3-shot pattern, clean and quick. But the Russos had made a big mistake. They never checked carefully enough for people who might have watched. Max found her in the 3rd-floor break room, a small woman with tired eyes mopping the floors over and over. Chloe Martinez, according to what he had learned, 28-year-old single mother, worked 3 jobs to keep herself and her 8-year-old daughter safe. The kind of person who gets hurt in his world. She looked up when his shadow appeared in the doorway, and he watched her face go through confusion, knowing who he was, and fear. Smart woman. She knew danger when she saw it. "You're working late," Max said, walking into the room. His voice was calm and controlled, the kind of voice that made grown men tell their secrets. Chloe's hands turned white around the mop handle. I have permission to be here. Dr. Mitchell knows I clean after hours. I'm not questioning your right to be here." Max moved closer, seeing how she didn't back away even though she was clearly scared. "Brave. I'm questioning what you might have seen 3 nights ago around midnight in the parking lot." The mop fell to the floor. "I don't know what you're talking about," she whispered, but her eyes gave her away. She'd seen everything. Max studied her face, the way her heartbeat jumped in her throat, the small shake in her hands, the way she turned her body toward the exit to protect herself. Every feeling told him she was lying, but not because she was mean, because she was terrified. "The men who did what you saw," he said quietly, "they don't leave people who watched alive, ever. It's not personal. It's their rule." Chloe's face went white. Are you one of them?" "No," Max pulled out a business card. "Plain white, just a phone number. But I know how they work. When they figure out someone saw, they'll come back. They'll ask questions. And when they don't like the answers," he let his words hang in the air. "Why are you telling me this?" Chloe's voice was barely heard. "Because dead people who watched can't tell the truth in court." Max placed the card on the counter between them. "But protected ones can destroy empires." Chloe stared at the card like it was a snake. "What do you want from me?" "The truth. What did you see?" For a long moment, the only sound was the buzz of bright lights above. Then Chloe's shoulders dropped in defeat. "I was taking out the trash," she said. "I heard voices, then gunshots, 3 of them. I looked out the window and saw a man standing over a body, tall, thin, wearing a gray coat. He had a scar here." She touched her left temple. "He looked up at the building before he left. I think he might have seen me." Tommy Benedetto. Max's jaw got tight. The Russo family's best killer. And now he knew there was someone who watched. "You're in danger," Max said simply. "Real danger. The kind that doesn't just put you in danger, it puts everyone you love in danger." Chloe's hand flew to her throat. "My daughter. Take the card." Max's voice was gentle but firm. "If anything happens, if you see strange cars, if men start asking questions, if your feelings tell you something's wrong, call that number, day or night." Why would you help me? Max looked at this small, brave woman who worked 3 jobs and still found the courage to tell the truth to a dangerous stranger. Because the men who killed that person in the parking lot are my enemies, and my enemies don't get to hurt innocent people in my city. Chloe picked up the card with shaking fingers. What do I tell my daughter? Tell her it's an emergency number. Tell her to remember it. Tell her if anything ever happens to you, if strange men come, if you're in trouble, if she's scared and alone, she calls that number and asks for help. She's only 8. 8-year-olds can be braver than grown men when they need to be. Max turned to leave, then stopped. Mrs. Martinez, don't try to run. They'll find you. Don't go to the police. They have people working for them inside. Just be careful and trust that number. As he walked away, Max heard her whisper, "What's your name?" He stopped, but didn't turn around. Someone who keeps his promises. That night, Max had his security team watch Chloe Martinez and her daughter. Not close enough to scare them, but close enough to help if the Russos made their move. He told himself it was smart. A living person who watched was valuable. A dead one was useless. But as he sat in his fancy office looking at the watching photos, he found himself studying Chloe's face. The way she smiled at her daughter even though she was exhausted, the careful way she checked locks and windows, now very aware of danger, the strength in her shoulders as she carried the weight of fear and responsibility. She was beautiful, yes, but it was more than that. There was something about her, a light that hadn't gone out even though life had been so hard. In his world of shadows and violence, she was something pure. Max pushed the thought away. She was someone who watched, a tool, nothing more. But when his phone rang at 11:57 p.m. 3 nights later, and he heard a little girl's terrified voice begging him to save her mommy, Max realized he'd been lying to himself. Chloe Martinez had stopped being just someone who watched the moment she'd looked him in the eye and chosen to trust him with the truth. Now she was something far more dangerous. She was someone he cared about. Max was on his feet before Lily finished speaking, his mind already figuring out distances, how long it would take, what could happen. His fancy apartment was 20 minutes from Chloe's apartment in normal traffic. At midnight, with his driver and the right speed, he could make it in 12. Lily, listen to me very carefully, Max said, moving toward his private elevator. Are you still in the closet? Yes, she whispered. I can hear them talking. They're looking for mommy. Good girl. Stay exactly where you are. Don't come out no matter what you hear. Understand? Is mommy going to be okay? Max's chest felt tight at the trust in that small voice. I'm going to make sure of it, but I need you to be brave for a little longer. He was already in the elevator, going down to his private garage. His security team would be getting ready. He'd sent the message the moment he heard Lily's voice, but they were all over the city, and time was something he didn't have. Lily, are you still there? They found mommy, she cried. I can hear her crying. She's telling them she doesn't know anything. Max's jaw got tight. Chloe was trying to protect her daughter, even now, saying she didn't see what she saw. But the Russos weren't known for believing people who said no. Sir. His driver, Marcus, was already behind the wheel of the armored Mercedes with the engine running. Chloe Martinez's apartment, now. Max slid into the back seat, keeping Lily on the line. Lily, I'm coming to help your mommy, but I need you to stay hidden until I get there. What if they hurt her? The question hit Max like someone punched him. In his world, violence was money, fear was power, and death was just another business cost. But the thought of Chloe being hurt, of this little girl losing her mother, made something wild and protective roar to life in his chest. They won't, he said and meant it. I won't let them. Through the phone he heard quiet voices, then Chloe's cry of pain. Max's vision went red. Marcus, faster. The Mercedes shot forward, moving through Chicago's empty streets like a bullet. Max's other phone buzzed with his security team telling him where they were. Vincent Caruso was closest, maybe 8 minutes away. Marco Santangelo was coming from the south side with 2 more men. But 8 minutes might as well be 8 hours. Lily, Max said softly, I need you to tell me exactly what you can hear. There are 3 of them, she whispered. One has a scary voice. He keeps asking Mommy about Tuesday night. About what she saw. Tuesday night, the night Tommy Benedetto had shot and killed someone in the clinic parking lot. The night that had started all of this. What's your mommy saying? She keeps saying she didn't see anything. That she was inside the whole time. But the scary man doesn't believe her. Max closed his eyes. Chloe was still trying to protect herself and her daughter the only way she knew how, with lies. But the Russos hadn't stayed alive this long by believing convenient lies. Lily, I'm almost there. When I arrive, there might be loud noises. Don't be scared, okay? It just means I'm helping your mommy. Are you a police officer? The innocent question made Max's throat tight. No, sweetheart. I'm something else. But I promise you, I keep my promises. Your mommy is going to be safe. Through the phone, he heard a man's voice, cold and threatening. We know you saw Tommy that night. The question is whether you're going to tell us on your own or whether we need to get creative. Then Chloe's voice, stronger than Max expected. I told you I didn't see anything. I was inside cleaning. I never went outside. Funny thing about lying, the man continued. It gets easier with practice, but it also gets more expensive. Max heard the clear sound of a gun being cocked. No, Chloe cried. Please, I have a daughter. She's just a baby. Then you should have thought about that before you decided to be a witness. Max's phone buzzed with a text from Vincent. 2 minutes out. 2 minutes too long. Marcus, we're going in hard, Max said. Call Vincent. Tell him to come in from the back. No survivors except the women. Yes, sir. Max checked his weapon. A Sig Sauer P226, loaded and ready. He'd killed before, many times, but always for business. Always cold, planned, necessary. This felt different. This felt personal. Lily, he said into the phone. I'm here. I'm coming up now. Remember, stay in the closet no matter what you hear. Okay, she whispered. Mr. Max, thank you for coming. Mr. Max. The simple trust in those words almost broke him. Max ended the call and moved toward the apartment building like death itself. The front door had been kicked in. Messy work. The kind of scary trick the Russos liked. They wanted fear, not to be sneaky. He took the stairs 3 at a time, his footsteps silent on the old carpet. 3rd floor, apartment 3B. The door was partly open, and he could hear voices from inside. Last chance, lady. Tell us what you saw or we start taking pieces. I didn't see anything. Chloe's voice was desperate now, terrified, but still fighting. Max appeared in the doorway like a shadow made real. 3 men just as Lily had said. One holding Chloe against the wall, gun pressed to her head. 2 others tearing apart the small apartment, looking for proof or hiding places. They saw him a tiny bit too late. Max's first shot took down the man holding Chloe before he could move. The second man reached for his weapon, but never got it out. The third, Tommy Benedetto himself, was faster, but not fast enough. In less than 10 seconds, it was over. Chloe stood frozen against the wall, staring at Max with wide, shocked eyes. There was blood on her lip, a bruise forming on her cheek, but she was alive. Chloe. Lily, she whispered. Where's Lily? Safe, Max said, putting away his weapon. She called me. She's been hiding in the closet. Chloe's legs gave out, and Max caught her before she could fall. For a moment, she leaned against him, and he felt the shaking in her small body, the way she fought to hold herself together. It's over, he said quietly. You're safe now. She pulled back to look at him, and Max saw the exact moment she realized who he was. Not a businessman with security worries, not a kind stranger who happened to have a gun. Something much more dangerous. Who are you? She whispered. Before Max could answer, a small voice called from the bedroom. Mommy, is it safe now? And Max realized that the most dangerous thing in his life wasn't his enemies, his business, or his reputation. It was the way his heart stopped when he heard that little girl call for her mother. Mommy! Lily burst from the bedroom closet and ran straight into Chloe's arms, her small body shaking with relief and leftover terror. Max watched mother and daughter hold each other tight, something strange twisting in his chest. In his world, family was either a weapon or a weakness. He'd never seen it as this pure, desperate love that made a woman face down killers and a child brave enough to call a stranger for help. "We need to leave," Max said quietly. More will come when these three don't call back." Chloe looked up from where she knelt holding Lily, her eyes moving from Max to the three bodies on her living room floor. "You killed them?" "Yes. Just like that. Just like that." Max's voice was matter-of-fact. "They came here to murder you and your daughter. I stopped them." Lily peeked out from her mother's hug, looking at Max with the fearless curiosity of childhood. "Are you Mr. Max? The one I called?" "I am. You came really fast." "I promised I would." Chloe stood slowly, keeping Lily close. "What happens now? Do we call the police?" Max almost smiled at her innocence. "The police can't protect you from the Russo family. They have judges, cops, lawyers working for them. You'd be dead within a week." "Then what?" "You come with me." Max pulled out his phone, texting his cleanup crew. "Pack whatever you and Lily need for a few days. We leave in 5 minutes." "I'm not going anywhere with you," Chloe said, her voice stronger now. "I don't even know who you are." "Mommy." Lily tugged on her mother's shirt. "He saved us. He's one of the good guys." If only it were that simple. Max bent down to Lily's eye level, his voice gentle. "Lily, can you go pack some clothes and toys, just for a few days, like a sleepover?" "Where are we going?" "Somewhere safe." Lily looked between Max and her mother, then nodded and ran toward the bedroom. Smart kid. She understood more than she showed. "I'm not going with you," Chloe said again once Lily was out of earshot. "Then you'll be dead by morning." Max's voice was blunt. "The Russo family doesn't forgive, and they don't forget. You've seen too much, and now you've cost them 3 soldiers. I didn't ask for any of this." "No, you didn't." Max's face softened slightly. "You were just trying to work, trying to take care of your daughter. But that doesn't change what's real. Anthony Russo will send more men, better men, and next time I might not get here in time." Chloe's hands shook as she ran them through her hair. "This is crazy. This morning I was worried about paying rent. And now you're under the protection of the most powerful crime family in Chicago." The words hung in the air like a confession. Chloe stared at him, pieces clicking together. "You're not a businessman, are you?" "No, you're one of them." "A criminal?" Max stood, his full height scary in the small apartment. "Yes." "Oh God." Chloe backed toward the wall. "I put Lily in danger with criminals. You've put Lily under the protection of someone who can actually keep her safe." Max's voice was patient but firm. "The Russos are coming whether you trust me or not. The question is whether you want to face them alone or with an army at your back." "I don't want any army. I just want my normal life back." "Your normal life ended the moment you looked out that window." Max moved closer, his voice gentle but firm. "I'm sorry. I know it's not fair. But fair doesn't matter anymore. Only being alive matters." Footsteps on the stairs made them both freeze. Max pulled his weapon in one smooth motion, putting himself between Chloe and the door. "Boss." Vincent Caruso's voice called from the hallway. "Clear," Max replied, putting away his gun. "Come in." Vincent walked in with 2 other men, their eyes quickly looking at the scene. Professional cleaners. They'd make the bodies and proof disappear like they'd never existed. "Mrs. Martinez." Vincent nodded respectfully to Chloe. "Mom Vinny. This is Chloe and her daughter Lily. They're under family protection now." Vincent's eyebrows went up slightly. Max had never given family protection to regular people before, but he simply nodded. "Understood, boss. We'll have this cleaned up in 30 minutes. "Mommy." Lily appeared in the bedroom doorway with a small backpack. "I packed my clothes and Mr. Bunny." Chloe looked at her daughter, so small, so trusting, so completely counting on her mother's choices. And Max saw the moment she realized she had no real choice at all. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, we'll come with you. But I want answers. Real answers." "You'll get them," Max promised. 20 minutes later, they were in the back of Max's Mercedes, driving through Chicago's empty streets toward his big house in Lake Forest. Lily had fallen asleep against her mother's shoulder, exhausted by the night's scary events. Chloe stared out the window, watching her old life disappear behind them. "The men who came tonight," she said quietly, "they would have really killed us." "Yes." "Even Lily?" Max's jaw got tight. "The Russo family doesn't believe in leaving loose ends." "And you? What do you believe in?" Max thought about the question. A week ago, he would have said power, control, respect through fear. But looking at this woman who'd risked everything to tell him the truth, who'd faced down killers to protect her daughter, who was now trusting him with both their lives. "I believe in keeping my promises," he said finally. "What promise did you make?" "To keep you safe." They drove in silence for a while, the city turning into suburbs, then to the fancy houses of Chicago's rich people. When they finally turned through the gates of Max's property, Chloe's breath caught. The mansion rose before them like something from a fairy tale, all stone and glass and incredible wealth. Lights blazed in every window, and Max could see his security team positioned at important points around the grounds. "This is your house?" Chloe's voice was small. "One of them." She looked down at her daughter, still sleeping peacefully, then back at the mansion. "What have I gotten us into?" Max studied her face in the dim light, the elegant line of her neck, the way she held Lily protectively even in sleep, the quiet strength that had kept her going through years of struggle. "Something that's going to change everything," he said softly. As they pulled up to the front entrance, Max realized he wasn't just talking about her life. His own world, built on violence and control and careful emotional distance, was about to be turned upside down by a cleaning lady and her 8-year-old daughter. And for the first time in his adult life, Maximilian Cross wasn't completely sure he was in control. Chloe woke in a bed larger than her entire apartment back home, silk sheets soft against her skin, and morning sunlight coming through windows that looked over perfectly kept gardens. For a moment she forgot where she was. Then reality came crashing back. The men in her apartment, the gunshots, Max's cold skill as he'd killed 3 people without hesitation. "Lily." She sat up quickly, panic rising. "She's safe." Max's voice came from a chair near the window. He was fully dressed in a charcoal suit, looking like he'd been awake for hours. "She's having breakfast with my housekeeper, Mrs. Chen. Apparently, they're discussing the right way to make pancakes." Chloe pulled the sheets higher, suddenly aware she was wearing an oversized t-shirt she didn't remember putting on. "Did you? Mrs. Chen helped you change last night. You were in shock." Max's voice was carefully flat. "How are you feeling?" "Like I'm living in someone else's life." Chloe looked around the fancy guest room. Real artwork on the walls. Fresh flowers on the nightstand. A marble bathroom visible through an open door. "This is all real, isn't it? Last night actually happened." "Yes." "And you're really," she couldn't finish the sentence. "A criminal?" "Yes." Max stood, moving to the window. "To be specific, I'm the head of the Cross organization. We control most of the illegal activity in Chicago. Gambling, protection, some real businesses that help us stay clean." "Drugs?" "No. I don't deal in anything that hurts children." Chloe studied his side view, trying to match this admission with the man who'd saved her life. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve the truth. And because you're going to be here for a while, you need to understand what you're dealing with." "How long is a while?" Max turned to face her, and Chloe saw something flicker in his dark eyes. "Until the threat is gone." "You mean until the Russo family is dead?" "Yes." The casual way he said it made Chloe's stomach clench. "You're going to kill them all. Anthony Russo declared war the moment he sent men after you. This ends one way." "What if I testified? Went to the police? Told them what I saw?" "You'd be dead before you reached the courthouse steps." Max's voice was matter-of-fact. "The Russos own half the police force and most of the judges. Your testimony would disappear, and so would you." Chloe felt the walls of her new reality closing in. "So, I'm a prisoner here. You're under protection here. There's a difference." "Is there?" Before Max could answer, the door burst open and Lily ran in, her face bright with excitement. "Mommy, you have to see this place. There's a pool and a library, and Mrs. Chun says there might be horses." "Horses?" Chloe looked at Max, who had the grace to look slightly embarrassed. "The stables are on the north side of the property," he said. "I don't really use them anymore." "Can we see them, Mommy, please?" Chloe looked at her daughter's eager face and felt her heart break a little. Lily was 8 years old. She should be excited about horses and pools, not hiding in closets while men with guns searched for her mother. "Maybe later, sweetheart. Why don't you go finish breakfast with Mrs. Chin?" "Okay." Lily started to skip out, then stopped and ran back to Max. Before he could react, she wrapped her arms around his waist in a tight hug. "Thank you for saving us, Mr. Max." Max stood frozen for a moment, then his hand came down to rest gently on Lily's head. "You're welcome, little one." When Lily was gone, the silence stretched between them. "She likes you," Chloe said finally. "Children are good judges of character." "Are they?" Chloe stood, wrapping a robe around herself. "Because my daughter just hugged a man who kills people for a living. I kill people who threaten innocent people." Max corrected. "There's a difference." "Is there?" Chloe threw his words back at him. "How many people have you killed, Max?" "Enough." "That's not an answer." Max was quiet for a long moment, studying her face. "Do you really want to know?" "Yes." 43. Over 15 years. All of them deserved it. The number hit Chloe like someone punched her. 43 people. 46 counting last night. How do you live with that? By remembering that every person I killed was trying to hurt someone who couldn't protect themselves. Max's voice was steady, but Chloe caught something underneath. Pain maybe, or regret. "My father was murdered when I was 16. Shot down in the street like a dog while my mother and I watched from our apartment window. The police said they'd investigate. They never did. The men who killed him went free." Chloe felt her anger slow down. "Max, I learned that day that justice and law aren't the same thing. Sometimes you have to make your own justice." He looked at her directly. "Those men last night came to murder you and your daughter. If I hadn't killed them, they would have killed you. Do you think I should have let that happen?" "No," Chloe whispered. "No, of course not." "Then don't judge me for protecting what matters." The strength in his voice made something flutter in Chloe's chest. "What matters to you?" Max was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, "Lily. Keeping you both safe." "Why?" The question came out softer than she meant. "Why do we matter to you?" Max moved closer, and Chloe found herself backing against the window. "Because when you looked me in the eye that night at the clinic, you chose to trust me with the truth. Because you work 3 jobs and still find time to read bedtime stories. Because you face down killers to protect your daughter. Because what? Because I've spent 15 years building walls around my heart. And somehow you and Lily walked right through them like they weren't even there." Chloe's breath caught. "Max, I know what I am," he said quietly. "I know what I've done. I know I'm not the kind of man you should want. But I can't change how I feel about you." "How do you feel about me?" Max reached up, his fingers barely brushing her cheek. "Like I'd burn the world down to keep you safe." The confession hung between them, raw and honest and terrifying. Chloe felt herself leaning into his touch, despite every smart thought screaming at her to run. "This is crazy," she whispered. "Yes. You're dangerous." "Yes. I should be afraid of you." "Yes." Max's thumb traced along her jawline. "Are you?" Chloe looked into his dark eyes and saw the truth beneath the killer, beneath the crime lord, beneath all the violence and power. A man who'd been broken by loss and rebuilt himself into something harder, something that could protect what he loved. "No," she said finally. "I'm not afraid of you." "You should be." "Why?" Max leaned closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Because I'm never letting you go." The attack came at dawn. Chloe woke to the sound of gunfire and Max's voice shouting orders in the hallway. She was out of bed right away, her mother's feelings taking over everything else. "Lily!" She ran to the connecting room where her daughter slept, finding it empty. Panic clawed at her throat until she heard Max's voice from the main hallway. "Vincent, get Chloe and Lily to the safe room now." Chloe rushed into the corridor to find organized chaos. Max's security team moved with military precision, some heading toward the windows, others taking staff to safety. Max himself stood at the center of it all, calm and deadly in a black tactical vest, leading the defense of his home. "Where's Lily?" Chloe grabbed his arm. "Safe room with Mrs. Chen." Max's eyes swept over her, checking for injuries. "Vincent's going to take you there." "What's happening?" "Anthony Russo brought the war to my doorstep." Max's voice was ice-cold fury. "He's about to learn why that was a mistake." More gunfire came from the grounds below. Through the windows, Chloe could see flashes of light from guns in the early morning darkness. Max's men holding defensive positions around the house. "Boss," Vincent appeared at Max's shoulder. "Mrs. Martinez, we need to move now." "Go," Max said to Chloe. "I'll come for you when it's over." "What if I'll come for you?" Max repeated, his voice fierce with promise. "No matter what." Vincent led Chloe through a maze of hallways to a hidden door behind a bookshelf. The safe room beyond was like a small apartment. Comfortable furniture, supplies, communication equipment. Lily sat on a couch with Mrs. Chen, holding her stuffed rabbit. "Mommy!" Lily ran to her, and Chloe swept her into her arms. "It's okay, baby. Everything's going to be okay." But as the gunfire got louder outside, Chloe wondered if she was lying. The battle lasted 3 hours. Chloe paced the safe room like a caged animal, listening to the sounds of war raging above them. Vincent watched radio chatter, his face serious as he tracked the progress of the fight. "Vincent," Chloe said finally, "tell me the truth. How bad is it?" Vincent looked at Lily, who was pretending to sleep on the couch, then back at Chloe. "Russo brought 40 men, professional soldiers, not street thugs. He's trying to end this permanently. And Max? The boss is the boss. He's survived worse." But Chloe heard the worry Vincent was trying to hide. She closed her eyes, sending up a prayer to whatever gods protected dangerous men and the women who loved them. When the silence finally came, it was deafening. Vincent's radio crackled. "Safe room. This is Marco. All clear. Repeat. All clear." "Copy that," Vincent responded. "Status on the boss?" A pause that lasted forever. Then, "Alive. Wounded. But alive." Chloe's knees nearly gave out with relief. They found Max in his study, shirt off, while a doctor stitched a bullet graze along his ribs. His face was streaked with dirt and blood, but his eyes were alert and angry. "Lily, why don't you help Mrs. Chen make some hot chocolate?" Chloe suggested gently. "Is Mr. Max okay?" Lily asked, looking at his bandages with concern. "Just a scratch, little one," Max said softly. "Nothing to worry about." Lily nodded seriously and followed Mrs. Chen out, leaving Chloe alone with Max and the doctor. "How bad?" Chloe asked. "Bullet grazed his rib," the doctor said. "He'll be sore for a week, but no permanent damage." He was lucky. When the doctor left, Chloe moved closer to Max's chair. "What happened to Russo?" "Dead, along with most of his organization." Max's voice was flat, emotionless. "It's over." "All of it? All of it?" Max looked up at her, and Chloe saw exhaustion in his dark eyes. "You're safe now. You and Lily both. You can go home if you want." The words should have filled her with relief. Instead, they felt like a knife to the heart. "Is that what you want? For us to leave?" Max was quiet for a long moment. "I want what's best for you. That's not what I asked." "Chloe," Max's voice was rough. "Look around you. Look at what my life brings. Gunfights at dawn, blood on the walls, men trying to kill everyone I care about. Is that really what you want for Lily?" Chloe knelt beside his chair, taking his hands in hers. "Do you know what I want for Lily?" "What?" "I want her to see that love is worth fighting for. That sometimes the right choice isn't the safe choice. That good men come in all kinds of packages, even ones that scare other people." "I'm not a good man, Chloe. You saved us. You protected us. You risked everything to keep us safe. Chloe reached up to touch his face. You let an 8-year-old girl hug you and didn't push her away. You are a good man, Max Cross. You're just a good man who's had to do terrible things. I'll always have enemies. There will always be danger. Then we'll face it together. Chloe, I love you. The words came out in a rush before she could lose her courage. I love your strength and your gentleness and the way you make me feel safe even when the world is falling apart. I love that Lily trusts you completely. I love that you keep your promises. Max stared at her, something vulnerable and desperate flickering in his eyes. You could have anyone, someone normal, someone safe. I don't want anyone else. I want you. Chloe smiled through sudden tears. Besides, what's normal about falling in love with a man because your daughter called him for help? Chloe, Max's voice broke on her name. Save my mom, please, Chloe whispered, echoing Lily's desperate words from that first night. That's what she said to you, and you did. You saved us both. Max pulled her up into his lap, careful of his injured ribs, and buried his face in her hair. I love you too, he said quietly. God help me. I love you both so much it terrifies me. Good, Chloe said, pulling back to look at him. Love should be a little terrifying. Mommy, Mr. Max. Lily's voice came from the doorway. Mrs. Chen made hot chocolate with marshmallows. We'll be right there, sweetheart, Chloe called. But Lily was already running toward them, climbing onto Max's lap beside her mother like it was the most natural thing in the world. Are we staying here forever? Lily asked, settling against Max's chest. Max looked at Chloe, then down at the little girl who'd changed everything with one desperate phone call. Would you like that? He asked. Yes, Lily said simply. I like it here, and I like you, and Mommy's happy. How do you know Mommy's happy? Because she smiles different now, like she's not worried all the time. Max's arms tightened around both of them. Then yes, little one, forever. Years later, Chloe would still remember the exact moment her life changed forever. Not the night she saw a murder or the night men broke into her apartment or even the morning Max told her he loved her. It was the moment she realized that sometimes the wrong number is exactly the right call. She stood now in the garden of their home, not the fortress-like house where they'd first found safety, but a big house in the suburbs where Lily could have friends over without security checks. Max had stepped back from the day-to-day work of his organization, focusing instead on the legal businesses that had always been his long-term goal. Mrs. Cross. Lily appeared at her elbow, now 12, and growing into the kind of confidence that came from being absolutely certain she was loved. Dad wants to know if you're ready for dinner. Dad. The words still made Chloe's heart flutter. Max had officially adopted Lily 6 months after they married, and she'd started calling him Dad the very next day, like she'd just been waiting for permission. Tell him 5 more minutes, Chloe said, watching Max through the kitchen window as he helped their 3-year-old son, Michael, wash his hands at the sink. Are you coming? Lily asked. In a minute, sweetheart. Lily skipped back toward the house, her laughter mixing with Michael's delighted squeals as Max lifted him onto the counter. Chloe touched the phone in her pocket, a different number now, but she still kept it close. Not because she expected danger, but because she'd learned that sometimes the most important calls come when you least expect them. Sometimes a little girl's desperate plea for help becomes the beginning of everything beautiful. Sometimes the most dangerous man in the city becomes the safest place in the world. Sometimes love really does conquer all.